So it was inevitable. Lyft did wait for a couple of months this time, but they yet again followed Uber's lead and changed their driver pay rates to mirror the changes that Uber recently made. Joe here with the Rideshare Guy. It's no secret, Uber completely dictates pricing and driver rates in rideshare. It's a pattern. Uber will lower rates, then Lyft will lower rates. Uber will change to upfront pricing, then Lyft changes to upfront pricing. Uber will change our commissions from a percentage-based commission to a rate-based commission. Lyft will follow suit. Uber will alter our driver rates, our pay rates, and then Lyft will follow. But back in July, Uber lowered drivers per mile rates and increased drivers per minute rates in 5 cities. The reasons given were to better value our time and to make earnings more consistent and dependable. And just this month, Lyft did the exact same thing. For instance, here in Minneapolis, there was a 19% decrease in per mile rate and a 63% increase in per minute rate. And not only are the rate changes exactly the same, but even the headlines for both announcements are almost the exact same as well. It makes you wonder if there's any independent thought over at Lyft. And your actual pay shouldn't change much at all. Harry ran the numbers back in July when Uber made their changes, and he found that in any given week, you're typically plus or minus $2 increase or decrease in earnings compared to the old rates. But earnings should be more consistent. You're not going to get paid as much for those 20-minute, 19-mile rides as you were with the old rates, but you are going to get paid more for those 20-minute, 5-mile rides. So here's a graph that Harry used for his article on Uber's rate changes, and you can see that as the length of a trip increased, a driver would have been paid less with the new rates versus the shorter trips that would have paid him more. And this makes sense since the mileage rate is decreasing, so long trips are not as valuable, and the time rate is increasing, so shorter trips are now more valuable. But as you can see, it pretty much all evens out in the end since the difference in new versus old rates is negligible. And again, they did this so that earnings are more consistent and reliable, but drivers are pretty upset. Anytime you see that a rate is decreased, any of your rates are decreased, as in the mileage rate, it's decreased, it's negative. It's not a good look. It's not something that you want to see. And I'm personally kind of indifferent on these changes. I mean, the pay isn't going to change a lot. We are getting paid more for our time, so we're getting paid more when we're in traffic or when we make a stop for someone. But now when we get those long, like those ideal rides, those long rides, like I said, where it's, you know, the mileage matches the time total, you're not going to get paid as well. But again, it should balance out with those shorter trips that when you're in traffic. And one thing you may want to do to take advantage of these rates are to drive slower. Drive the speed limit. The longer that your ride goes, the more you're going to get paid, the better you're going to get paid. And lastly, a quick bone to pick. Both initial announcements by Uber and Lyft, at least here in Minneapolis and St. Paul, had mistakes in them. Uber had this graphic where they compared the old rates to the new rates, and in this example of a ride, they had someone going a distance of 20 miles in 12 minutes. You literally have to be going 100 miles an hour to get there in 12 minutes. You can see they screwed up. They should have put 12 miles in 20 minutes, but it's just an error. It's annoying. And in Lyft's initial announcement, you can see that there is a negative 19% there visually. You can see that. But then right below, they say it's going to be an increase by 19%. Whoever is compiling these announcements is creating a headache for drivers and probably a headache for themselves. Just proofread these things before you send them out. It's really annoying for drivers, and I can't imagine how annoying it has to be for both Uber and Lyft to deal with all the questions that are flooding in after they send out these announcements with mistakes. Let us know how the rate changes have affected you. Are you happy with them? Are your earnings more consistent, more reliable? Are you happy with that, or did you prefer the old rates where some weeks you'd be getting paid a lot higher than other weeks because you were getting a lot more longer rides? If you haven't subscribed to the Rideshare Guy channel, please subscribe. We post new videos every single week. Thanks again for watching, and drive safe. Thanks.